Hey guys, this is Lovin Meets with Ryan Babel. We were so excited to welcome him on the show. We got a rundown of his football success across Ajax, Liverpool, and the UAE leagues. He spoke about habits for success and his thoughts on the Premier League competitiveness.
And yellow card or red card. So if you missed the show, don't forget to subscribe to the Lovin Meets podcast wherever you get your podcast from, and enjoy.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show. We're so excited to welcome our next guest, Ryan Babel, a Dutch football star. From his unforgettable moments at Liverpool, Ajax, and his career across Europe and the Middle East, Ryan has made a mark on and off the pitch. Here to tell us all about it. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Pleasure.
Absolutely.
Well, we're very excited to have you here, but before we get into the details, I want to go back.
Right.
So if you can tell us, how did you get to football?
Well, I grew up in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. Obviously, growing up, millions of boys wanted to become a football player. My father always asked me, why do you think you are special? I was never able to answer that question, but I guess, God gave me a talent to make it out there. I had the right head on my shoulders with the right parents. And eventually, age 17, I made my first game. 2004 for Ajax, and I was lucky, and since then been on this journey.
Amazing journey.
Yeah.
Looking back at your career, what do you think are the defining moments on or off the pitch?
Well, the defining moment is realizing how close you are and understanding what it takes to actually make it and also stay. Often what you see is that it's easy to arrive, but it's difficult to stay, and it has, of course, to do with a lot of factors. Your mental mind of state has to be right in the right place. Your environment around you have to support you at all times, and often you notice with very talented athletes that's not always the case.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you can tell us, because we know that you played for Liverpool. So what was it like playing for Liverpool and making your debut in Anfield in 2008? And if you can remember your mindset at that time to get to Liverpool and as well Anfield.
I was still pretty young, if I think about it. A lot of people at that time would say it was too early for me to make the transition from Holland to the UK, which it was a big step. But it was one of my very glorious days as a football player. Making your first game at Anfield is magical. The Liverpool Football Club is overall a very incredible team to be part of. So I was very grateful at the end to have been playing for Liverpool.
Can you remember your mindset at the moment? Was it pressure? Was it excitement? Was it nervousness?
I think it was a combination of everything. You're realizing you're part of something huge. You want to do well. The eyes and attention are on you. At that time, my price tag was not small, so people were expecting, of course, results and performances. But like I said, I was still in development. I was still very young, and I had to take it all in and make sure that I was not, losing my mind in the wrong way. And luckily, like I said, the environment was right. I had the right support system. And eventually, I was able to, do some nice things for Liverpool. Yeah.
Well, if you can tell us about Ajax ethos, what did it feel like to follow in the steps of, of course, the greatest of the greatest and a club that really supports, young football players?
Yeah. So overall, if you look at just the Dutch football culture in general, they don't really have the big monies to spend on big players like the UK does or Spain does. So they have to focus on the youth, which they do, and therefore they created a very good foundation of producing kids into football, and I was lucky to grow up in Holland. So if you're talented, and especially also for people who have, let's say, talented kids, Holland is the place where they give, youth a real chance. So I was very fortunate.
Fortunate, you played across multiple leagues, Premier League, Turkish Super League, UAE Pro League. How would you describe the play? Could you compare them in any way?
No, I feel like in every a location, every country, it was slightly different. Of course, it's football, the game is the same, but the culture is different. I remember being here in the UAE for Al Ain Club, which was, yeah, the environment was very different. You know, fortunately, we're playing, in empty stadiums. People didn't really come to the stadiums like that.
Wow.
And the temperature was very hot, so I had to get used to the heat very well. Unfortunately, my spell at Al Ain was not great, but again, you know, the experience took me to the next level as a human being as well. And it's a great time to look back at.
The culture that you mentioned is so interesting. For those of us who don't know, maybe could you describe the UAE football scene and the culture and the mindset of the players in comparison with Premier League players?
I think, especially at that time, professionalism wasn't as great, in my opinion. There was a massive difference with the local players and the foreign players who were playing. That made it very difficult, also for me personally, especially if you're coming here with great ambition and you want to win. And the local players were more laid back and you know, didn't seem to care as much as the foreigners. I think that was a slight disconnect. I don't know how it is now, but me visiting at that time, I had to get used to the culture a lot, and also the environment of the support system of the fans, who are, of course, not easy to deal with.
Well, we'll speak about the fans in a second, but what are your thoughts on what Ronaldo has done for the game in the Middle East in terms of coming to Al Nassr?
Very, very positive, of course. We know that Ronaldo, one of the greatest players of all time, has a lot of influence. Of course, very good for Middle East, Saudi in general, and then Middle East overall. Now I hope, of course, for the Middle East that they try and build the infrastructure as soon as possible, because we know, Ronaldo's days are not long anymore, and what's happening when Ronaldo, leaves football. So I hope we had, of course, not too long ago, we had a similar situation in China. China was attracting a lot of big players, and then at one point they completely shut down. And I hope that won't be the case for the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you compared playing in the UAE to actually playing outside of the UAE, and as well you talked about how Ronaldo is playing at Al Nassr. But I want to ask, how did you end up in the UAE? What was the story that happened? Did you get an offer?
Yeah, I was in Turkey at that time, and yes, I did get a great offer. It was a great opportunity for me. Apart from the offer, was also important to see who was the coach. That was very important. And based on that, I made a decision. It was a new experience. I always love a good challenge. And therefore I made a decision to come here with my family at that time. And that was based how I came into the UAE.
You mentioned a minute ago about fans and a little bit of negativity there in terms of their reaction sometimes. We know football fans are famously bloody difficult to deal with.
Right.
So have you ever been on the backlash of that type of criticism, and how do you handle it?
Yeah. I've had many controversial moments with football fans. The thing what football fans often forget is that we as football players are also human beings with emotions and feelings. Football fans can be very tough, very harsh. And now, special days with social media, you have a lot of online abuse, and as football player, you have to try and deal with it as good as possible. But that's not always the case, But again, it's part of the job. We have to try and learn how to deal with those moments. And also for me, it made me, the person who I am today.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you think that football fans are quick to judge players? Because it's very easy for us to look at a football player, and if they have a bad day, which leads to a bad performance, we judge them as if we know how to do their job better. So, do you think that football fans are too quick to judge?
Maybe they are. At the same time, I do understand them. Not always agreeing with how they would make their judgment right. Again, like I said, as football players, we're still human beings. That means we're not perfect. Sometimes we have also personal problems and issues that made us have influence on our game, on our performance. And often, they hide behind the fact that, let's say, football players in general get paid a lot, and therefore, we need to shut up and just do what they believe we should do. And again, it's a fine line in honest criticism or just, straight, being tough on players when they make mistakes. So again, it's one of those things that as players we have to deal with, unfortunately. But it also makes the game extra interesting.
That's true. It makes non-fans, we know everything that's going on because of it. I'm not a fan. What's the mentality in the locker room like in that type of media furor and attention? And if there's kind of criticism going on, do managers address it? Do you talk about it with the players? And do you think that kind of conversation culture has changed over the years?
The conversation sometimes definitely is happening amongst players, especially if as a team you don't do very well, you're under pressure, fans are being extra tough, media is being extra tough. So you're trying to help each other out, you're trying to, give each other some confidence boost that the next game would be better. These are not always easy times as football players, but again, usually what you notice, it's usually a cycle of working hard and then come out of it, and then one game can change everything, right? So if you play a great game and you win, and then the fans are happy, then all of a sudden it's forgiven. So that's often how it happens.
Fickle.
Right.
Yeah.
Fickle fanning.
Well, you played alongside some of the biggest football players. So what do you think sets them apart from the rest?
Definitely. Of course, you have a lot of different talented football players, but work ethic, the right mentality, want to go that extra mile, and living right as a professional. That's often sets them apart. You notice often with football players, once they earn a little bit of money and they have a little bit of success, they start to lay back a little bit, enjoy life, being distracted. And that's the difficult part, to not be distracted and continue. And that's often what makes the difference with that set of group of players who's really, different from the rest of it. I think that's, in my opinion, the difference.
If you could give your 16-year-old self one piece of advice looking back, what do you think it would be?
I would say to maybe come up for myself more. I remember being very naive of what I've been told at that time by coaches or teammates or overall, directors of teams. But if you understand also how now the football politics work, you could use that to your advantage, and sometimes you have to stand up for yourself a little bit more. But again, at that time I was very believable and naive about the things that I was advised, and that sometimes also gave me a setback, in my career. But it happens for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Well, because there's we know that football can be politics, and fans can be like, oh yeah, that team only won because they are meant to win, and it's all politics. Is that true?
I mean, it's not really black or white, but of course, you have powerful teams with great history that have great people in place to put extra pressure on maybe referees or federations. But at the same time, the players still on the pitch have to do it, right? So if the players are not good enough, you can be Real Madrid or Manchester United. What we now, of course, witness with United, you're not going to win anything. But of course, there are sometimes a lot of controversial moments where people believe, they had help from the referee or, someone higher up. But again, like I said, that is part of what's happening sometimes in football, which makes the conversation going, and then keeps it interesting.
Before we jump into a quick game, putting you on the spot, who is the greatest footballer of all time?
For me personally, I would say Lionel Messi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to play a game called Red Card, Yellow Card.
Okay.
We'll say some phrases, some words, and if it's a red card, totally, absolutely no, hold up the red.
Sure.
Yeah, you know what? You could probably explain the reds and the yellows better than me.
Yeah.
Okay, red card, yellow card with Ryan Babel. Let's kick it off.
Well, first of all, David Beckham's hair.
Hello.
Is this okay?
Yeah.
The hairstyles?
Yeah. I think he's a good trendsetter, and it seems like everything what David Beckham does looks good. So you have to give him the yellow card.
Fair enough. Diving.
Yeah, red card.
There's a great video of you.
Ah, yes. Oh, that game, I was so frustrated with the opponent. They were diving like every single minute, and the referee was falling for it. And at that moment, I lost it, so I wanted to show them how it looked, right? So that moment went viral. So that was funny.
It was funny.
Well, teenagers in the Premier League getting paid 115,000 euros a week.
Teenagers.
Yeah.
It's a fine line. I feel like if you're really talented, you deserve it, and you already show it, then of course, but often players get already overpaid early on, so I would say red card.
Football fan edits.
Football fan edits. Love it. Yeah.
Well, the Scouse accent.
Scouse accents.
Yeah.
Love it too.
Can you do one?
I used to.
Really?
You're Ayla.
All I was get chicken.
Right. Yeah.
Can I have a chicken chips?
Right. Yeah.
I could never understand that.
No. Once you live there, you start picking up the
Yeah,
accent.
for sure. It's like if you live in Dubai, you'll be able to like pick up the local accent.
Absolutely.
Got it. Well.
And last one, going Dutch. Paying for yourself on dates, for example.
Red. I mean, if you're a gentleman and you're taking a lady out of lunch or dinner, I think it should be the gentleman always paying.
Interesting. We have to check on the Dutch side of it.
Yeah. I you know what? For the first time when I heard that phrase, I was like, "What do you mean?" They were like, "Yeah, you Dutch people always split the bill." I was like, "No, we don't." But apparently, it's a thing. So. It's funny to see how they look at the Dutch people when it comes to that.
Ryan Babel, thank you so much for your time and a little bit of history of football and for bringing it to the UAE as well. We really appreciate it this morning. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Farah.
Thank you, Christy.
And that brings us to the end of the Lovin Dubai show. We'll be back here with you on Friday morning, which is tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.